In David Seymour's 2011 book, Birth of a Boom, Seymour lays bare his disdain for democracy. He compares democracy to the tragedy of the commons, and references voters as being simple-minded, ignorant, and self-serving. Seymour argues that voters lack incentives to educate themselves about policies because their individual votes have so little impact. He claims this dynamic allows special interest groups to dominate politics at the expense of uninformed voters. But what happens when Seymour himself relies on this very dynamic? His push for a referendum on treaty principles capitalizes on the same voter ignorance he criticizes. By reducing complex legal and moral obligations to a simple majority vote, he exploits and manipulates the very voters he belittles in his book. In a review of David Seymour's book, one of Seymour's think tank colleagues wrote, Seymour here notes the one-person, one-vote model is a disincentive to a voter informing herself of policy matters, since her vote is worth no more than that of the uninformed voter. Seymour's disdain for democracy goes deeper. In his earlier writings, he admits that uninformed voters are easily manipulated. In his book, David Seymour writes, faced with a voting public in which each individual has little incentive to spend time absorbing complex policy prescriptions and rationally sorting through them, it shouldn't be surprising that politicians resort to sound bites, gimmicks, and attack ads. This isn't just a critique, it's a strategy. By his own admission, he deliberately manipulates the public using those exact strategies of sound bites, gimmicks, and attack ads to keep his voters ignorant. Ultimately, Seymour's approach to democracy is one of disdain and manipulation, not respect. Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill exemplifies this manipulation. He knows that the complexity of treaty obligations will overwhelm many voters, leaving space for fearmongering and misinformation to dominate the debate. By his own admission, the Treaty Principles Bill or referendum isn't about democracy, it's about exploiting voter gullibility to undermine minority rights. David Seymour's contradictions reveal a politician who doesn't believe in democracy, unless he can manipulate it as a tool to serve his agenda.
Is it that we're actually have a case for rejecting democracy here, or is it that we need to rethink the rules of democracy?